All right, what's up, everyone? This is Rome coming to you with another interview with a Trekkie talking about Trek type ish. The person I'm speaking with today is Tina. And Tina, if you don't mind just sort of introducing yourself.
Hey everybody, my name is Tina Runswick. I'm also known as Avariana, or my store is Avariana Art. I'm primarily a digital artist, and my focus is Star Trek, obviously.
And like definitely one of the things that made me think of you when I sort of had this idea to just like talk to Trek people about actual Trek stuff as a format was your art, because it is definitely like very Trek heavy, at least the stuff I've been privy to.
Yeah, of course. I do like general commissions outside of my own personal hobby type art. I have no particular style. I've done anything and everything. I don't do realism, though. That is not within my skill set, unfortunately. But yeah, no, I love Star Trek, and I love the fan base around it. It is huge, and um, yeah, no, I'm here for it.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I'm glad to have you, and I guess we'll boldly go into these questions. So first question, what is your first Trek memory?
Right. So a half-assed memory, I guess, would be seeing it on TV late at night in Australia. I was an outdoor kid growing up, so TV was pretty limited. But I guess my first real intro was the original series, The Trouble with Tribbles. So I lived in Australia at the time, and my partner, well, now partner, was a very, very close friend. He sent me a package from America. So he's from California. And he sent me a burnt disc with two episodes, and that was The Trouble with Tribbles and then TNG's Inner Lies, absolute favorite. It definitely had me intrigued after watching Trouble with Tribbles. And eventually he came over to Australia and we lived together for about a year. And the first series he showed me was actually Voyager. And that's because it was such an important series to him and it helped him get through a lot of life's nonsense when he was growing up. So, yeah.
Okay, definitely. And that's something that is so cool about Trek, because it like whatever your show that you go to, if other people don't like that show, there'll definitely be other people that do, because it appeals to such a wide base, because it's just like generally very good storytelling.
Oh, for sure. Oh my gosh. I love it so much, especially the older stuff. The newer Trek is standalone amazing, right? Like the graphics are just bomb. But like the original sort of stuff is episodic. I like a new adventure every episode. And yeah, that's kind of I don't know how I feel about Trek. And it's just shared so widely. Even if people don't like the same one as you, they can relate to a sort of even emotional, complex sort of level. And I really love that.
Indeed. So, with what you've told me thus far, I have a guess, but I'll ask, what is your favorite Trek show?
Well, kind of going off, what I previously said, I love all Trek, pretty well equally. There's pros and cons to each, but I have to say my absolute favorite is Deep Space Nine. It's dark and it touches on a lot of deep stuff like military PTSD, which is pretty close to me. Not like personally, but I can go into that a bit later if you'd like. But Honorable to Strange New Worlds, I love how they brought back that episodic style. As I mentioned before, different adventures each episode. It's really good, and they're a lot lighter as well, like with the humor and stuff. I really appreciate that because especially trying to bring in the new generation to watch Star Trek, it's really important.
Right. What you said, well, all the things you said are true. But yeah, I do have to sort of second that about Strange New Worlds. It has a level of it's very balanced. Like it has a level of sort of campiness to it, but it's not campy bad. It's it's like perfectly balanced almost.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I've I've enjoyed absolutely every episode. You know, there's some series out there where they just have janky sort of filler episodes. No, not Strange New Worlds. It's been so awesome to watch.
Definitely. So with that, who is your favorite Trek captain?
Oh, um, I'd have to say Captain Janeway, hands down. She's like, "Where's Starfleet? Screw the Prime Directive, and where the heck is my damn coffee?" Like, I relate, girl. Like in regards to my art, I want to draw her more, but I don't want to overdo it. And I think like I have a really nice 1/6 scale figure of her with like interchangeable items. Because I don't know, I just love having her around. She's such an idol. You know, I really want to encourage my kids to watch Voyager when they're old enough because, you know, also Kate Mulgrew. I love her.
Right. And that's one of the things about Janeway that I sort of appreciate. She's really the only one that you sort of get to go with on her journey because they sort of introduce the idea to you that she will be an admiral someday. And then, boom, Voyager's over. Then you get the Star Trek films with the Next Generation cast where you sort of get to see it. And then even till now with things that, are future based, it's like this acknowledgement that yes, like whatever happens, Janeway at some point is going to be an admiral, and she's gonna have some weight. So it's like Star Trek really goes out of their way to sort of show her respect.
Yeah, she's a very, very strong leader. And I feel like Kate Mulgrew really depicted that so very well. She nailed it. And yeah, definitely I guess when I started watching Voyager, I was so concerned. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're never going to make it home. There's going to be some dramatic ending. And then when they did, I mean, the ending was, I'm not even going to go into that. Um,
Right.
but yeah, for them to return, and it was exactly sort of how I imagined it.
I have always wanted to see her Picard as well, but more so her based on the story she had from her show in a situation where they somehow had to deal with the Dominion. I always thought Janeway's way of solving problems would have been very interesting seeing her in the Dominion war.
Yeah, that would have been very curious. But yeah, I think I like where they took it, especially with the Maquis and trying to blend them with Starfleet. That was a very very fun take because I'm like, you know, these sort of enemies trying to work together as a team. I think that's what made Voyager very unique.
No, definitely, definitely. Oh man, I could talk all day about Maquis storylines, but we'll move ahead. So what is your favorite Trek episode?
Hmm. Let's go. I think DS9. It's only a paper moon. That one hits really deep. So I have a past with an ex who was military, and their PTSD was just intense. And like my sister also ended up marrying a vet, and she went through some hell with his mental health and abuse. So I guess it's odd that I would claim this to be a favorite episode. So I guess what would read better is to state it was most memorable and, you know,
Pertinent,
emotionally
yeah.
moving. Yeah. I think another one, a close other one would be TNG's Blink of an Eye. You know, remember that one where the world's spinning really, really fast and they're all evolving quickly. And then, yeah, it was very interesting.
I'm trying to you might have stumped me here. I'm trying to think. Blink of an eye. Now, wait, was you said TNG, right?
You know what? I think I was mistaken. I think
Voyager?
Blink of an Eye is Voyager. Yes.
Okay, and they're stuck in the orbit, and so they sort of look at this society evolve.
Yes, yes, that's the one. Yeah. No, I mean, once again, it's super memorable, right? And yeah, I felt so
Definitely.
bad for those people. They're just like praising this god that shakes their earth. And I think the ending was very, very sweet too. The way, they got to go up and meet everybody on the ship. So yeah, and but it was sad to know that the two crew members that came up from that planet, by the time they went back, all of their loved ones had gone, and it was right in the heart, man.
Yeah, I think both of those are fantastic episodes. The Paper Moon definitely allows Aaron Eisenberg, a chance to, I think probably that might be one of the, no, that probably is the most emotive episode with a Ferengi as sort of being the centerpiece, like he really got to stretch with that one, as did the Vic character. So yeah, definitely I can definitely see how that would be something that would stick with you. And as far as Blink of an Eye, I think that is probably one of Voyager's most Star Trek classic type scenario episodes. Like you could almost
Yeah,
see, yeah, you could almost see Kirk in that situation. You could see Picard in that situation. This is just a classic Star Trek episode,
doesn't get any more traditional than that. I think that's definitely a good point.
right? All right, so you might have given hints to this already. What is your or who is your who is your favorite Trek character? So this is the
I have to pick
whole
just one.
universe. Yeah, you got if you had to have one,
Hmm.
no
I
judgment.
don't know.
You
No
can pick,
judgment,
yeah,
right?
you can pick Grudge if you want to. No judgment.
Can I pick Morn?
Hey, a
No,
lot of people do, right? He'll talk your head off though.
he will. He will. Such a chatterbox. Kira Nerys, right?
That's a
She's
strong
just,
pick.
yeah, it is. Which is very, very hard to pick because she is a very strong character, total badass. But since Deep Space Nine is like my thing, it was such a toss up between say like her and Elam Garrick, right? How
Ooh,
do how do you pick?
right, right,
um, but yeah, I mean, there's just so many complex, well played characters, especially like secondary type characters, not like the main crew.
right.
Um,
And I think that's one of the strengths of DS9 is that you get that the background players, as it were.
right, yeah. So like those characters such as Gul Dukat and Kai Wynn, like, oh, I hate them both, but that just goes to show how well they were written. Like the actors just nailed it.
Definitely, definitely. Let me ask you this. I have a thought, and I haven't really talked to a lot of people about it, so I'm trying it out with you for possibly one of the first times. So in the
Okay.
right in the mirror universe, usually everything seems to be topsy-turvy, right? Ezri's not trustworthy, Ferengis are honest, whatever. Um, I feel like the only person who seemed to play the same exact character was Garrick.
You're right. Yeah.
Like nothing
he
about him changed.
No, I think it was just he generally in every sort of universe, he's Garrett. You
He's
can't
Garrick.
change who that man is. Yeah.
Right. All right.
So, but he
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say he just the way his character always puts on this Taylor front. But you know damn well he's a sneaky little scaly boy.
Right. And no pun intended, by the way. Um,
No.
so let me see. This is why I love it because I keep thinking I probably know what she's gonna say, and then I'm like, oh wow, no, I wasn't expecting that. So we're gonna continue. You do have to pick one, unfortunately. What's your favorite alien race in Trek?
Okay, you're gonna find this one hilarious, and you probably wouldn't pick this, but Denobulan.
You know what? That is very solid, and I wish after Enterprise we could have had more interaction. Like, where'd they go?
I know because I'm like, okay, so the smile was a little freaky, but I love it. But I'm 100% here for their poly lifestyle. Like that was just brilliant, bringing that to light for some people, and I'm sure it just helped validate a lot of those poly, relationships out there, and I felt that that was really important as
Yeah,
well. So
Trip
yeah,
Trip was not ready for that.
no, he was not.
Trip's like, you gonna do this in front of your husband? She's like, I already told him before you got here. I already let him know.
And Fox, oh my gosh, what a character!
Right.
Yes,
And
what?
do you do you know, like, because I have read that Andorians also have a somewhat poly type mating system, but I don't know if that predated when they introduced it with Denobulans, or if it came after they did it with Denobulans and they're like, "Oh, okay, no one cared, we're all right, Andorians too."
Yeah, they kind of missed a lot of background sort of stuff with them, and I felt let down there because Sean was such a good character, um,
Right.
and yeah, no, that sucks. I wish I could have gone deeper into that. Yeah, that would have been good.
Definitely, definitely. And the last thing I will say about the Nobulans is, and this is just because I'm obsessed with Star Trek, obviously, but it's like they made this big deal. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen Strange New Worlds. Have you've seen the first season, I'm assuming?
Yes, yes, I have.
Okay. So they make this big deal about genetic, alterations and genetic manipulation, but Phlox clearly says the Nobulans have been doing this for generations, and how we're not crazy like humans, for lack of a better, term. Like, we don't, try to take over the world. We just do it to make heart defects go away and stuff. So I'm like, how can
Yeah,
Denobul, is that why you don't see him anymore? Did they get kicked out because they refused to stop doing genetic modification? I think a story could be done there.
yeah, especially since they had another one, right? So Dr. Bashir in DS9, he was modified. He was like a superhuman, and he
Mm.
was so ashamed to kind of let people know that.
And his dad had to go to prison.
Yeah, it was rough. Whereas, like, you think of denobulans and the way that they altered themselves. Okay, I guess maybe it was more widely accepted because it was medically related, right? So no, I don't
Yeah,
know. We need to.
yeah. I smell Section 31. They did something. They covered up something.
Oh, for sure. No doubt. No
Right.
doubt.
So leading into that, if you could be any position in Starfleet, what would it be?
Well, engineering, I think. No particular rank or anything. They're always under pressure. And I think that would be pretty thrilling. Like, red alert, stranded, shields are down, warp core offline, and you all got T minus 7 minutes to save the damn day. Like, that's my jam.
Okay, okay. So you seem like you're someone that like loves challenges, because I would think of it and I'd be like, every time I see something wrong with the warp core, it's one of engineering that gets left behind the little like lowering shield thing and has to save the day. So yeah, you like living on the edge.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, in those sorts of situations, needs of the many.
That's true. The Star Trek version of YOLO, I suppose.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
so it's gonna turn a little bit negative here. I apologize, but we'll try to keep it fun. What is your least liked alien race in Star Trek?
All right, so my answer for this one's probably not going to be taken so well. I don't know, depends, right? So I would have to say Vulcan, right? They're kind of
Mm.
pretentious, judgy, suppressed emotions, my butt. And they get all touchy touchy. Um, yeah, no, I'm not a fan. I mean, like Spock is pretty cool. T'Pol was, I don't know, she was kind of cringy in the beginning, but she became one of those sort of likable characters. I don't know. Yeah, like I said, they're just very judgy. And yeah, I don't, yeah, not a fan.
Right. And I was talking to a friend, actually another one of these interviews, and we were sort of talking about Vulcans, and he had brought up the point that he thought one of the things that sort of works against Vulcans is that they're effectively the most familiar to us as aliens, so they have to keep trying to change them to make them interesting, and it sort of made them into this like aloof type thing that it wasn't necessarily presented as before. But at the same time, I mean, you can't, if you don't have emotions as human beings, you would think that would, from our side at the very most or the very least, create some type of animosity, because we have emotions.
Yeah, you reckon they'd be more understanding. Instead, they're just like, why are you being like this, man? I'm like, no, if you hadn't suppressed it, you would probably react the same as well, right? I'm like, we just don't want to suppress it. Emotions are important, you know? Um, some people need to learn how to regulate their emotions, but yeah, I don't, yeah, that's just how I feel, unfortunately. Because I think, a lot of people absolutely adore Spock and stuff like that. But yeah, not for
That's
me.
true, and I think that's something that might work against Vulcans a little bit too. Is when people think of Vulcans, they do think of Spock. And a lot of times when Vulcans don't act like Spock, they're like, whoa, this Vulcan's acting weird. And it's like, well, actually, Spock is not a specific Vulcan. Like he's a very, or excuse me, he is a very specific Vulcan. Like he isn't the standard issue Vulcan. He has the human mom. Apparently, he has the human sister. And apparently he has the full-blooded Vulcan brother, so like his story is a little bit messed up. So it makes sense why you don't see most Vulcans act like Spock, but most people expect Vulcans to act like Spock.